Tony Blair served as Prime Minister of Great Britain from 1997 to 2007. He joins us this morning exclusively. Prime Minister Blair, it's always good to see you. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, you said once of Margaret Thatcher, very few leaders get to change not only the political landscape of their country, but the world. What's the most important way in which she changed the world?
I think the policies she introduced in respect to the balance between the state and the market, selling off the state industries, putting trade unions within a proper legal framework, some of the measures to do with taxation and spending. I mean, there was a philosophy that even people, and I come from the opposite side of the political fence, obviously, even people on the opposite side of the political fence took some of those lessons and applied them, and not just in the UK but around the world. So, you know, look, she was a very controversial figure, but you've got to say she was also a towering figure, a huge figure, and her impact was a global one.
I know she had come to visit you on several occasions while you were Prime Minister. According to the New York Times yesterday, she may have preferred you to her own protege, John Major. Did you seek her counsel on key issues?
Yes, I did. I mean, when she would come in and see me, it was one of the paradoxes about Margaret Thatcher that she had this Iron Lady image, and she was obviously a very tough political leader. But I have to say, at a personal level, she was very kind and very warm. And it was interesting when I came into Downing Street in 1997, the staff in Downing Street, you know, the people who do the chores and keep the place running, that they were always very, very generous about her and regarded her highly.
While I have you here, I need to ask you a question about some current events. It was back in 2003, Prime Minister Blair, that you said after Iraq we need to deal with North Korea and their weapons program. 3 years later, you condemned that regime for their nuclear weapons test. You've seen what's happened lately. The tension level continues to rise. It seems on a daily basis North Korea either threatens the U.S. or South Korea. Is this something more, in your opinion, than a new leader saying to the world, hey, look at me?
It's a good question. I'm not sure we know the answer to it, frankly. And this is the problem when you've got a regime that doesn't really conform to any recognized rules with nuclear weapons capability. So it's a very tough situation. Now, I think and I hope that ultimately this is saber-rattling. It's an attempt to deal with some of the regime's internal problems by having some external focus. It's asserting its muscularity, if you like. But, you know, this is an unusual and it's got to be a dangerous situation as a result of the nature of the regime and the capabilities they have. So I know behind the scenes it's hard to talk about all these things publicly. There'll be the most enormous efforts going into making sure that regime gets a clear and strong message. But it's, you know, this is a situation where, if you like, with the Korean Peninsula, you've got South Korea, North Korea, same people, divided. It's almost like a laboratory experiment in good governance, South Korea having come from nothing to be one of the leading industrial countries, and bad governance, a country whose people are under a state of oppression and in some cases abject poverty.
Right. Former Prime Minister of Great Britain, Tony Blair. Mr. Prime Minister, it's always nice to see you. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Matt.